there, listeners. It's your annoyingly optimistic host here, bringing you another season of the Annoyingly Optimistic Show. Welcome to Season 2, Voicemails to Tim. Now, let's meet Tim. He's been running his own small business for almost 3 years now, and let's just say he's hit a bit of a rough patch. You know how it is. Sometimes you get so stuck, you make yourself busy and just avoid finding the real problems. Well, that's Tim. So as a good friend, I decided to leave him a daily voicemail, if I can't get hold of him, filled with nuggets of inspiration, insight and wisdom, and downright brilliant ideas to help get him unstuck. Every day, in just under 10 minutes, I'll share some tips, tricks, and a healthy dose of optimism to get Tim, and maybe even you, back on track. Because let's face it, we're all a little tired, in need of help, and muddling through. So here we go. Oh wait, never mind. Tim's being busy. Here's the voicemail I left him today.
Hi Tim, hope you're well. Sorry I missed you. I was trying to think of a different thing to say when I leave you one of these voicemails. You must get bored of me hearing me say that every time. But I do hope you're well and hope you're busy. And we must catch up soon. I was struck today listening to a book which I might have mentioned recently. And the very title of the book kind of lends into this one, but it also talks about someone in the book. Now, you know, I've said it multiple times, I'm a big kind of Steve Jobs fan. And this book actually, and I think I've mentioned this, there's a quote on my wall which is, "Be so good they can't ignore you," which is by the comedian Steve Martin. And this book is actually called, based on that kind of quote. And I won't delve into the specifics, but he talks about Steve Martin in the book, and he talks about Steve Jobs, and you know, there's lots of other inspirational people out there. But it was really interesting because certain people, and Steve Jobs is one of them, you know, they become larger than life. They become this kind of figure, and you know, from the autobiographies and the films and first-hand knowledge, you know, you get a real understanding of the character. But the bit that gets remembered and talked about is that tip of the iceberg bit. And what kind of struck me was this, is that there's these different kind of people, and it made me think about this with relation to kind of Steve Jobs, and this is why I went, oh, got to tell Tim about this. What we need to do is we need to look past the surface of the person that we admire and look at the characteristics. The what do you admire about them? What is it that makes you want to find out more about them? What is it that interests you? Because it's those characteristics that are the things that invariably, you know, I'm not ever going to emulate Steve Jobs. I'm not ever going to be Steve Jobs. I'm not going to be able to come up with things out of thin air. But it's some of the ways that he deals with things and works with things. It's one of the attitudes, and there's a great line where Steve Martin says about this, be so good they can't ignore you. And he talks about playing the banjo. And he says, and this is obviously for comedic effect, but the idea behind it, there is a truth there of, you know, he said, well, yeah, banjo is really hard to play, but if I play it every day for 40 years, I'm bound to be good after 40 years. You know, it's this patience, and that's what summed up his career, the be so good they can't ignore you. It took him 10 years to become an overnight success by working a specific way and just doing it and getting better and better and building up this idea of career capital. You know, so that it was so good they couldn't ignore him, and built up a critical mass. And so it's looking at those qualities, you know, you admire. You know, we can reel off billionaires and millionaires and famous people and things like that, but it's like, can you actually identify the, you know, yeah, you could, they've achieved success, they've achieved, you know, wealth as an indicator of success, but are there any actual characteristics that you really admire in them, or are you just admiring them because they are this kind of, wow, wouldn't that be amazing to be that person? You know, and it's things like there's all these research about how many books CEOs read and how many books successful people read and things like that. And often it's thrown back kind of going, well, yeah, but because they got so much money, they've got time to read. Or, you know, rich people having weird, you know, kind of outlying habits and things like that. And it's like, well, it's because they've got money because they're eccentric. And actually, if you look into those people more, the eccentricities, the reading, the learning, the drive was there, and that's what generated the money. those things didn't spontaneously arrive when the money did. It was very much, cause and effect. So yeah, it's, some of the people that you admire, what are the actual skills, the traits, the things that they do, the way that they approach things? Look at those and look at people that have achieved things, but not their achievement, not who they are, but what did they do to achieve that? Because there are lots of similar things that come up time and time again that it makes you sit back and take stock and kind of go, okay, these are the traits, and there's lots of similar traits to very successful people. And those are the things we want to emulate. Those are the things that we want to aspire to and be, inspired by, because they're the things that are going to help us achieve. They're the things that are going to drive us forward, and that invariably going to make us better in our own, kind of businesses. So it's that, those different focus of those different people. So, next time you're reaching for a biography or, those people that you admire, write them down, but do a bit of research into them. See what actually made them tick. See how other people referred to them, and see what those techniques are, and look for people who have achieved things in a certain way. If there's something that you struggle with, concentration or focus, then look for people who, that's been one of their strong points, the certain characteristics, because that's where we can learn lots from. We're never going to emulate the path of 99% of these people that we might admire, but we can emulate the skills, emulate their dedication, emulate their decision making or the processes, and look at what they do and how they did it. And that's the things that we can really kind of gain from those people. And you can, invariably will gain a deeper admiration for them, because it's like, God, that's a skill I wish I had more of, or I wish I could emulate, and then emulate it. Greatest form of flattery, is to copy, is to learn from these people. And their achievements didn't come out of thin air. Their achievements invariably didn't come out of some divine, right. Yes, they were in the right place at the right time and in the right environment, but they put themselves in the right environment. They put themselves around the right people, and they had the determination and the characteristics to make those opportunities count and nurture those opportunities when they came about. So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of throw that one out there, because it was interesting hearing in the book and hearing talk about kind of people and making me think, there's certain people that there's actually bits of their personalities I really aspire to. The person itself I couldn't tell you much about, and it just kind of got me thinking, and why we need to look deeper into what those people have done and how they've done it, as opposed to the people themselves. So hope that helps, Tim, and I shall speak to you soon. Bye for now.
And that's it for today's episode of Voicemails to Tim on the Annoyingly Optimistic Show. Now remember, Tim might be busy, but we're all in this together. Whether you're tired, in need of help, or just muddling through, Tim is here for you, because, well, Tim is you. Yes, you heard that right. Tim isn't just my friend, he's a reflection of all of us who are struggling to make it work. TIM stands for tired, in need of help, and muddling through. So if you're feeling like a Tim, you're not alone. For all those ambitious listeners, if you've got a burning business question, a quirky thought, or just want to see if you can leave an even weirder voicemail, head over to the website voicemailstotim.com, submit your question, and maybe, just maybe, you'll hear your idea in a future Voicemail to Tim. So until then, stay annoyingly optimistic, keep pushing forward, and remember, if life gives you lemons, leave a voicemail about it.